Hey, you know what? I was thinking about, psychics making mistakes and whatnot. And sometimes people, they want to trick you or say, well, now if you were really psychic, you would have known this, or did you foresee that? And it's like, well, if you made a mistake, you are obviously nothing but a fake, a fraud, or God knows whatever. What I think is this. First of all, I think that a true psychic, all the information they get is valid, but sometimes you have to interpret it a certain way. And I think if you don't, you know, uh, know exactly what it is you're getting, sometimes it might make it hard to know exactly how to interpret that. I feel like we are all human beings are naturally psychic. I think that, of course, just like any other talent or ability or in whatever gift, whatever you want to call it, some people have more than others, and I guess when some people have more than others, the others, are going to get all threatened by it, and they feel more comfortable perhaps if they take it away. Like I said, well, this really doesn't exist, and therefore I'm safe now. When really they probably ought to just be thinking, I wonder if I could do that or whatever. Anyway, the point of this is, I feel like, you got to remember that I and anybody like me are human beings. And that's why we have erasers on pencils. And just because you might misinterpret something or just outright miss something or make a mistake doesn't mean that that person isn't valid. It just means that that person is human and that there might be a lot of stuff going on in there right now. And it's interpretation. But again, I do think the information coming in is what it's supposed to be right. And one more thing I was just thinking about. I think it's like a person is standing in a river and the water's flowing over the person. Well, now let's just say this water is information, and I think that for human beings, we're standing here in this river of information is flowing over us and through us, and we get all soaking wet from it and we absorb, our clothes, wherever absorb it. But for all this information that is flowing over us, there's this river, that's not flowing over us. Okay, there's not every inch of that water touching us. There's too much information and too little person. Now, there's some people that might be standing in the same part of the river and maybe they're getting exactly the same information and maybe they each interpret it differently. Okay, and then maybe there's other people over there in another part of the river that are getting wet by that particular current, and so they're getting that information. And so there's a lot of current, and maybe it's only so much one individual can get. Sometimes maybe that current is very muddy and it takes a lot of really trying hard to see through that mud. Sometimes even when you don't want to see it, it's crystal clear. It's crystal clear. But it sometimes just is what it is. You get what is sent to you and you don't get what's not, and there it is. And I think it's a lot of times it's your intention of how you use that current, how you direct that energy that's coming to you. And this is one thing I told you before. A true psychic or a true person wants to be helpful will actually use this information to be helpful, but they won't try to control you or decide for you. They want you to just have whatever information they have, then you can use that information to do whatever you need to do with that. It's your choice, and nobody's supposed to try to control you, and that's dangerous if somebody tries to, take control of your life for you. That's really important, and also you just simply you can tell, good from bad by the fruit that someone bears, and if someone is, bearing a really ugly fruit, not in a good part of the river, not good, or maybe not in the river at all. But as I said, really, I think we're all in that river. It's just about paying attention, or maybe some people really aren't supposed to notice it. Maybe some people are supposed to notice other things because that's where their gifts and their energies. But just because you don't notice this river of energy, or a person doesn't have access to that particular current or whatever, doesn't mean that something isn't valid or real. You know, we can recreate a $20 bill, for example, but it's not real. It's counterfeit, right? That doesn't mean that the other $20 bill isn't real and valid. Just because, you know, you can try to fake something or recreate something doesn't diminish or take away from what is real and valid. Anyway, that's it for tonight.